Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another Exhumed movie review. Today we are going to be talking about The Thing from Another World. I don't know why I did that. Really quick though, before I get into anything else, I want to say thank you to my creepy patron peeps for your support of my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. Alright, so directed by Christopher Nyby, The Thing from Another World follows a group of scientists and Air Force officials on a base in the North Pole who discover a UFO. Thinking the life form aboard the craft is dead, they bring it back to their base only to have it come to and attack members of the base. All right, so there is a lot of debate surrounding who directed this movie in reality. So some of the cast, even like between the cast and the crew, so some of them say that Christopher Nyby was really the main director on the picture. While others say it was Howard Hawks, who is one of the uncredited writers of the movie. Hawks, along with Charles Lederer and another uncredited writer, Ben Hecht, hopefully I said that right, adapted the screenplay from the novella Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. Filming wise, the film was shot partially in Glacier National Park, with the rest being shot on a soundstage that was built in an LA ice storage plant, which is pretty cool. Pun definitely intended. In terms of what I liked about this movie, I really liked the brawn versus brain kind of conflict going on. It's really like the Air Force officials travel to the base where like the scientists have they've been set up camp for a long time and they're studying all these different things. So obviously when they discover the UFO, the Air Force officials kind of like standpoint is like, kill it with fire. The thing breaks free, they're like, we gotta find it and we gotta kill it. And scientists are like, no, we need to study it. This is a life form from another planet. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to, blah, 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 blah. I like it because it really reflected this post-Hiroshima time where people were really nervous about this sort of thing. They were really wary of science and scientists who were, wary of them meddling in things that they shouldn't meddle in. A lot of movies of this time kind of reflected these fears, either with like alien life forms, and science, the idea of science going too far, and kind of the other end of the spectrum was like these big radioactive monsters, which were the result of like radiation, and which is a little bit more of like a literal fear of like an atomic bomb, like an aftermath sort of thing, like Godzilla rising from the sea or something like that. Basically all these movies reflected this core fear, which is still a fear people have today, especially with like our rapidly expanding technology and science. Like, what can happen if we go too far? Like, is there a line? If we go too far, what could happen? And that was a huge fear back then. It's technically still a huge fear. It's something I'm scared of too. So I really that really resonated with me in the movie. I also liked this kind of like classic horror element of like, I don't even know what you would call it, which I feel like, my film studies degree is like, they're not going to give me the paper at this point because I don't know what you would call it. But there's like this weird thing going on in this movie where I don't know if this was intentional, but they kind of made you fixated on doors right from the get-go in this movie. So I don't know if this is just something I noticed or it was like a subconscious thing, or if this was like intentional in the movie. But at the very beginning of the movie, when Captain Hendry is called to his superior's office to learn about like the mission he's going on to the North Pole, within that scene 3 times the door is mentioned. So when Hendry walks in, his superior's like, shut that door or whatever, and somebody else comes in, he says the same thing, and then they say it again when the scene is closing. Like, it's it's like the door is kind of like this focus of the scene weirdly. So it's like that, it was like that paired with like the door, like the Foley sounds of like the door opening and shutting, like they were very obvious. And it kind of made me fixated on doors, which is kind of like I don't know what to say, it's like a classic thing in horror, but opening and shutting doors is a pretty common scare tactic. Like, things always jump out from behind an open door, you know, when you shut it or when you open a door, that sort of thing. So I kind of became fixated on the doors early on in the movie, and you just get this feeling like, well, at some point, the thing is gonna be behind the door, right? Lo and behold, we have a scene where the door opens and that thing is right there for one big scare. And I don't know, it's like kind of just like classic horror elements, like, and it's something that you see all the time in horror, like even today. Like, it was weird, like it was just like this really subtle thing that they did at the very opening of the movie where all of a sudden I was just like fixated on the doors. No, I liked it. It was good. In terms of what I didn't like, the only thing I can really say, and this is not the film's fault because obviously this film came before John Carpenter's adaptation, but since I saw this after I've seen Carpenter's film like 50 million times, it just wasn't as exciting or good, I guess, in my opinion, as John Carpenter's interpretation of this story. And like I said, that's not the film's fault. Obviously this movie came long before John Carpenter's with all those amazing practical effects, and it's just, you know, it's mostly my fault for having seen that one first before I saw this one. I can still appreciate it, obviously, but it just, at the end of the day, I just don't like it as much as John Carpenter's. But like I said, it's not the film's fault. So overall, it's a decent movie. It just didn't quite excite me as much as John Carpenter's The Thing. Although, if I had to rank all three movies, and I'm gonna include the prequel in this one, even though it's not technically a remake, it feels like one though, doesn't it? If I had to rank all three though, it would be Carpenter's, this version from 1951, and that kind of prequel, but also plays like a remake movie. So I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5 on IMDb. It has a 7.2 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 88% critic score and a 73% audience score, and on Letterboxd, it also has a 3.5 out of 5. This movie isn't available on Amazon like I normally watch everything. It is available to rent on YouTube though, so I will leave a link for that in the description. That is not an affiliate link. I'm just providing it down there if you want to check out the movie for yourself. If you've seen The Thing from Another World already, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it, and let me know your ranking as well between this movie, John Carpenter's The Thing, and the prequel. I do hope you enjoyed this video though. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday, and you can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post a video, even though it doesn't always work. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye!